Alright, sorry, I'm still messing around with the phone and where to be and everything else, and how to show you guys what I'm doing. So bear with me while I get used to that. I'm going to get a tripod here soon and we'll solve this problem. Let me just check, make sure I'm laid out good, and then we'll get started. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to get set up. Going to get set up with our wood. Got a tape measure, carpenter's pencil, and a speed square. So that's primarily what we're going to be using. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to lay everything out how you want it. So the first thing you want to do, I got a 27-inch board here. I'm going to make a mark here in the center at 13.5. So whenever you're doing any sort of lettering, you want a center mark. And we'll go ahead and put a square line there, which we'll come back and sand out later. And I'll talk to you about the importance of that when we get to it. Alright, I'm going to do two marks here on the ends of the boards. One at 2, and then another one at 1.5, just because that's the way I want to do my lettering. Alright, and this one's got a little bit of a chip on the corner, so I'm going to come a little further away on this end, but again, 2 and 1.5. Alright, take your speed square, mark yourself a line to the end. If you've seen any of my previous videos talking about using a chalk line, you guys already know why. Alright, I'm going to do that at both ends. Now for this one, because it's what I'm doing, even though it's my business thing, I wanted to be a little bit rougher. So I got my knot here. I could have gone to the smoother side. We're going to come back and sand all these marks off anyway after we get done with our routing. But it's a good start. Alright. Take my chalk box for the sake of speed and efficiency. And pop 2 lines, so I got nice level lines all the way across. When you're doing short stuff like this, and since I'm not cutting these lines, I just need to barely be able to see them. So you can see on there that second line came out pretty faintly. If you want a little darker, just reel your chalk box back in real quick. Lay it back across and pop it again. That's all you got to do. Pause for a beer break. Alright, so name of my business, Iron Forged Woodworking. The reason I like to use wood tabletops is because I don't care if I cut them up, because I can always throw this OSB away and replace it. So, Iron Forged Woodworks. Alright, so we have a total of 19 letters. Alright. Every letter as you're doing your spacing, alright, because I'm using a 1/4-inch router bit, you want at least an inch for each letter. Alright, so we need 19 inches of space. Alright, plus you're going to want, if you want any oversized letters, which I'm not doing any oversized letters, you're going to want a little more space, but you want at least a 1/2 inch in between. So we have 3, or so that adds 1.5 inches overall. So we actually are going to need 20 and 1/2 inches. Alright, got a 27-inch board, so that's going to leave us 6.5 to each end, or 6.5 total. So you're going to do a 3.25-inch mark to give you a good start point on each end of your board. And go ahead. The same thing. You're going to scribe out, use your square and mark out your lines for your sign. Alright. For those of you who've seen my magnet boards, I will be doing an inlay on the back of this so that I can put my knives when I'm working on them up here and do a good start on the rest of my videos for which knife I'm working off, take it off my magnet board with the name of my business on it. Alright, so next thing you want to do is you're going to find the center letter Alright, in this particular case, since I have 19 letters, we're going to go to letter number 10, which is going to be the D in forged. Alright, so go to your center mark, which is at 13.5. And mark yourself a little half-inch mark on each side of that.
It's just a matter of time till they find it.
Alright.
Do it.
One thing that I did fail to mention, however, and that's going to throw our marks off a little bit that we made on the ends, is you're going to actually want to put about a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch in between each letter. Anything that's more complicated and rounded, D's, G's, R's, sometimes make S's take a little bit more space to do, especially when you're using a router. So make sure you do a layout comparable to that. Give me a second, pause the video. Got to do some quick math. I'll come back to you, and so you don't have to sit here and watch me struggling. Sorry about that. So the math for the adding an 1/8 inch each way is actually an additional 2 1/8 inches, which means that I need to go an inch and a 1/16 extra on each end. Alright, so make sure that you add that to whatever your original marks were. You can just make a little scribble over those old marks if you want to, or like I said, you're going to work from the middle outwards. So, and any background noise you hear, that's not tools. I have a TV in my garage because I'm a bum like that, and helps me focus to have some background noise. Alright, so as you guys might remember, I already said you're going to take about a 1/2 inch in between words. So since the D is the end of forged, you're going to do a 1/2 inch one way. Alright, and then you do an inch, then do an 1/8, then an inch, down to an 1/8, so on and so forth, all the way to the end of what you have marked out.
So that was your big plan? Sacrificing yourself to take out Ross?
It's the only way. He's down there to the mark. I get a chance to tell both of you.
A lot of traffic today. So all I'm doing right now is just making my marks, doing an inch, do an inch and 1/8 in between.
Contact your father. Ray needs to find a way to counteract the virus. I'm sure Malcolm told you. We don't have a lot of time.
Oliver. What have you done?
He found this city.
Oh, all right. So we got woodworks marked out. I got my little scribe lines there, and I'm gonna go through real quick with my square and go ahead and make a line there.
Just passed out for that day. Where'd you find him?
My father's not using any of the league's ordinary shots in the city.
If Ross is here with the virus, why hasn't he used it yet? Where are we?
Ross is old school. Every way I have been finding him.
New school.
Although maybe we need to change the way we're looking for him. We're trying to find a cell that's gone dark. We should look for what's out of the ordinary in the water.
So we look for what's unusual and maybe that points us to how or where Ross plans to release the virus.
Traffic lights were down for 20 minutes at Adams and O'Neill. All computers at Starling National Bank are offline. They charge up. Because it's closed, there's an electrical spike at
Alright.
second, and Ross
So the way I make my lettering is I literally just kind of eyeball it. Which I know sounds horrible, but it normally works out for me pretty well. Alright.
That's why Ross has released the virus. He wants to use it to kill Damien Dark. This is not just about my ascension. Ross wants to take out his nemesis.
Looks like you weren't the only one with a hidden agenda.
This can work for us. Ross wants Damien. So give him Damien. We trade Damien for the virus. He is remarkably ruthless and cold-blooded.
So I know you guys are literally just watching me use a carpenter's pencil right now. Hope it's not boring you to death and that you're still watching my video. After you've done this a few times and you start getting used to it, it's really easy to kind of visualize it in your head, which makes it really easy to lay out on the board. And you know, you've already got your guidelines all marked out. You made all your straight edges, so your straighter letters are going to be really easy, and it's just a matter of continuing on that process. So don't be afraid to get a little creative, a little crazy with it. It's just some wood, you know. I'm using just a cheap piece of pine that I had laying around. I say that a lot on my videos. Some lumber I just had laying around. I had a lot of lumber. I've done a lot of woodworking. Messing around with this and that. So I have a nice selection. Alright, so here to show you what I got so far. Got my woodworks and the D for forged laid out. Alright, make sure you pay attention to your lines. So this one I'm doing a 2-inch letter here on my W, and then I go up to 1.5 inches on the O's. You can see on this one I need to come back up, down a little bit, which I can do with the router, just kind of following my lines, kind of paying attention. Then I'm doing an extended S because it's the end of the board. It's going to help give it some balance against this other side, because iron's a short word and forge is a short word compared to the 9 letters that I have over here in Woodworks. So you guys don't have to keep watching me use a pencil and scribbling. I'm going to lay this out. We'll take a look at it real quick, and then I'll start routing and show you guys that.